We welcome you back to the Bonner Center on the campus of Arsenal Tech High School for our second City League game of the day between Big Brothers Big Sisters and Mambo's Cheesesteak Grill. Alongside Andrew Garrison, I'm Zion Brown. And Andrew, this Mambo's Cheesesteak Grill team has not played a game yet in this season, so it'll be interesting to see them going up against a 1-0 Big Brothers Big Sisters squad.
Absolutely, and you mentioned Mambo's Cheesesteak Grill. They haven't played a game yet this season, but we know exactly what to expect from them. The 2023 champions of the City League are present here in Mambo's Cheesesteak Grill. They lost in the championship game in 2024 last season, but they were the best team throughout the regular season without a doubt. They have an electric backcourt pair. It's Darius Adams and it's Marquise Teague. Marquise Teague is the same Marquise Teague that was the #1 point guard in the country coming out of high school not too long ago. Started all 40 games for that national title Kentucky team in the 2011-2012 season. And then Darius Adams is a big-time overseas pro, the best offensive player in the German Bundesliga in the 2013-14 season. Some seasoned veterans of the game and some big-time scorers and playmakers in the backcourt is the highlight of Mambo's Cheesesteak Grill. But on the other end, Big Brothers Big Sisters, sort of the on-paper underdog in this one. They won a close game. They made some clutch buckets down the stretch against a great team with some great backcourt presence there in Elevate Indy. It's going to be a fun one as we get to see Big Brothers Big Sisters potentially pick up another quality win on their schedule if they are to upset Mambo's Cheesesteak Grill. And on the other side, there's a title contender in Mambo's Cheesesteak Grill that has not played a game yet, and we're about to see just what they are capable of, at least in the first game of their season.
You think it maybe gives Big Brothers Big Sisters a leg up, just the fact that they have already played a game this year while this Mambo's Cheesesteak Grill team has not?
I certainly would not be surprised if we see some of that experience and that cohesion sort of show itself for Big Brothers Big Sisters. I definitely could see that playing a role early on in this game. Mambo's Cheesesteak Grill, though, I feel like they're going to be able to score regardless of what happens early on, regardless of what sort of mistakes are made across the board. Darius Adams, Marquise Teague, of course, both fantastic. Big Brothers Big Sisters, though, despite their, more than just the fact that they've played a game so far this season. I mean, Josh Brewer out of Ben Davis is a guy that's deadly from downtown. He hit the game winner against Elevate Indy just last week. Jeremy Tyler is a great ball handler. Hunter White is dangerous around the perimeter on multiple levels of offense as well. And then, of course, Dominic Washington, graduate of Ben Davis, played soccer and football there, the team captain. There's a lot of threatening pieces on the Big Brothers Big Sisters side in the sense where I think they might have more size and they might be able to play better in the mid-range and down low in the front court. It'll be interesting to watch those two strengths counterplay one another in this game across the board.
So we're just about ready to get underway. The Mambo's team in those black uniforms with spotted red all across. And the purple uniforms belong to Big Brothers Big Sisters. Josh Price will do the tipping off for Big Brothers Big Sisters. Deshaun Hampton will jump it away for Mambo's. As Big Brothers Big Sisters winning the tip here with Hunter White. White takes the midi and can't get it to drop. Board cleared by Adams. Darius Adams on the attack right away. Then swings it off to Hart. Hart tries to squeeze one into the paint, and it's taken away by Big Brothers Big Sisters. Here comes Jeremy Tyler. And now it's with Coleman. Coleman all the way to the rack. That ball doesn't drop, and Darius Adams will pull up for the attempt at the first points of the game, but no good.
Some missed shots here early on as nobody has scored yet through the first minute, and a foul call the other way. Some quick pace from both sides, but they have not been able to finish off possessions until, of course, this foul call. We'll see if Josh Brewer can Josh Price rather can potentially put the first points on the board.
Foul going against John Hart, and now Price has a chance to lead off the scoring in this game, which he does.
Josh Price, new to this team from last year, graduate of Indianapolis Shortridge High School. And as a senior at the University of Southern Indiana, 18 points per game, 1 block per game, 8 rebounds per game. Very productive, and he certainly played a role in the win just last week.
Here is Teague with the basketball, feeding Deshaun Hampton. Now back up top to John Hart. Hart will take the 18-footer flat on that attempt. And cleared by Price. Hunter White with the rock, steps back for the tray, off the mark. And here's Adams, Darius Adams into the lane with Hampton. Hampton loses it, and Big Brothers Big Sisters comes away with the basketball with Coleman going all the way to the hole. That doesn't fall, tip doesn't go for Price either. Coleman gets it back, swinging to the corner. Jeremy Tyler's open for the three, and he buries it. 5-0 start for this Big Brothers Big Sisters squad.
They're certainly taking advantage of the opportunities given to them despite that putback from Price just rolling off. It's a 5-0 lead, and they've really stifled this backcourt from Mambo's Cheesesteak Grill as yet another shot from Darius Adams glances off.
And it turns into a leak out for Price, who throws it down.
Certainly a quicker, more intense style of play from Big Brothers Big Sisters here relative to Mambo's.
Hart breaks the scoring drought with the triple. Much needed basket there for Mambo's. Let's see how Big Brothers Big Sisters responds. It'll be Tyler getting his shot rejected by Hampton, but then a poor pass that is taken away by Hunter White. White, middle of the court, he's left open, he fires and hits.
And Big Brothers Big Sisters out to an early lead, but we know what this Elam ending at towards the end of this game is going to do for both sides, as anybody's in contention to win all the way till the final shot.
Step back for Teague, doesn't drop, and Price all over the boards right now. Grabs another. He'll take the foul line. Jay short on that attempt, and Teague rebounds his miss on the other end. Darius Adams trying to go to work on Josh Brewer. Adams gets inside the paint, can't finish, and Brewer comes away with it. 7-point lead and the ball for Big Brothers Big Sisters. Open on the other end is Coleman. He drills it.
Big Brothers Big Sisters certainly has established the level of intensity they're willing to play with here early on, and we've yet to see Mambo's Cheesesteak Grill really match that here in their first game of the season. All of those early season jitters, all of those sort of first game mishaps are already out of the way for Big Brothers Big Sisters, and we're seeing that advantage show itself early.
They lead it by 10 here as we see our first substitution. Evan Loudon entering the game for Mambo's Cheesesteak Grill. And he immediately has a nice cut and the layup off the inbounds play.
Great heads-up play there from Evan Loudon, graduate of Avon High School, averaged 12 points at Northwood University.
Here's Hunter White with the basketball. Back to Price. Price rolling. Can't finish with the right hand. May have gotten hit in the face. But nevertheless, here comes Darius Adams down the floor. He has his shot rejected, but scooped up and put back in by John Hart. Quick 4-0 spurt as Tyler pulls up for the 15-footer and rounds it home.
Big Brothers Big Sisters very hot shooting the ball after the brief moment of stagnancy at the start of the game.
Teague sinks the step back.
And that's just an indicator for how dangerous this backcourt's going to be. Marquise Teague, a great example of somebody that can really hit the shot from beyond the arc.
I'll tell you what, Josh Price, his physicality, his size has really shown early in this game. So he got the layup there to make it a 7-point lead yet again. And now he almost came away with the steal, but Teague came away with it into the corner for Loudon's three. Got it.
Evan Loudon making a big-time impact off the bench right away, standing at 6'2". He's got 5 points early on.
Tyler driving baseline, deflected by Adams. Back to White. White in the middle of the lane. One-legged jumper gets blocked by Teague. And on the other end, John Hart will take the long shot and hit it. And just like that, despite trailing 13-3, it's a 1-point game.
And those 6 points from John Hart from beyond the arc have certainly been critical. Played 63 games at Purdue and is now taking his talents to the City League and putting Mambo's Cheesesteak Grill back to down 1.
Price down low, turn away, Jay doesn't drop. And the ball bounces back out. And a three is good for Jeremy Tyler. Ball just bounced past the outstretched arms of Evan Loudon into the corner for Tyler. Now Tyler almost came away with the steal, but Loudon handles it, and he got fouled up top.
Jeremy Tyler is a guy that plays all over the floor, both vertically and horizontally. He has that range. He has a slender build, a knack for scoring. He can score from anywhere across the three and the mid-range. He's so difficult to defend, and he's so elusive defensively as well, seeking turnovers as he just had one nearly go his way.
Another three made for Mambo's Cheesesteak Grill. And again, it's John Hart. Driving, Jaron Coleman. Coleman stuck, and he gives it off to Steve Miller, who misses everything on the three attempts. Here comes Loudon into the corner. Hart for his third three. Book it. And a 2-point lead now for Mambo's Cheesesteak Grill after trailing by 10 early in this one. It has been a 3-point barrage, Andrew.
And that seems to be Hart's spot there on the right wing. And as you mentioned, a 3-point barrage, and it really seems like throughout this game so far, Big Brothers Big Sisters has been outplaying Mambo's Cheesesteak Grill across the board. We, of course, saw the 10-point lead early on, but Mambo's Cheesesteak Grill, that backcourt is so good. That three-headed monster of Marquise Teague, Darius Adams, and John Hart is so good at getting back into ball games. It is never over, and there is never a lead safe enough against this team, and that's why they win at such a high rate, especially with the Elam ending. You can't use the clock to your advantage down the stretch, and Mambo's Cheesesteak Grill so good at hitting shots from beyond the arc, so good at getting downhill, so good at backing down defenders, right, using physicality to their advantage, and ultimately so good at hitting those clutch shots to take the lead now. And it's hard to believe that at the first break of the game, of course, that timeout from Big Brothers Big Sisters, Mambo's Cheesesteak Grill is the team with the lead just under 8 minutes into this one, and it's because of that three-point range from beyond the arc. So many of their players can hit from that spot. We just saw John Hart do it to put this team in the lead for the first time tonight.
The long ball is the great equalizer. I agree with you, Andrew. It feels like this Big Brothers Big Sisters team is outplaying Mambo's Cheesesteak Grill, but because they've been able to knock down so many threes, it has not mattered. And now they come up with another ball, and it's Hart again. Over to Loudon, that pass almost intercepted, loose in the middle of the floor, and Josh Price comes away with it. Coleman, he'll try three on the other end, and Jaron Coleman sinks that one.
And hey, we can't forget about the great three-point shooting on the other end. That's a second one for Jaron Coleman in his own right.
Shot missed, and Big Brothers Big Sister comes away with it with Tyler. Tyler back to Coleman, he'll try another. He got another.
Looks like we've found the hot hands in Jaron Coleman for Big Brothers Big Sisters. Coming out of Ball State, a big guard, 42.5% from three as a sophomore at Ball State. And he's made three so far, 2 in a row against Mambo's Cheesesteak Grill of the City League.
Meanwhile, Marcus Teague rises and fires right over the defender as Coleman comes back off the mark that time. And here comes John Hart and Mambo's Cheesesteak Grill, but he has it taken away, rolling into the corner, a trap in that corner, but they get it away to Gibson. Open is Teague, and he can't hit that one.
Teague hasn't quite found his shot, but he will be dangerous once he does in this game and across the season.
Nice runner from Jeremy Tyler to extend the lead for 2-3 rather. Now here comes Darius Adams. Fall away jumper, falls.
Tough take from Darius Adams. He gets it to go, keeping Mambo's Cheesesteak Grill alive in this one.
Back and forth we go as Josh Brewer hits his first three of the day. Adams attacking immediately. Another fall-away jumper, another make.
Darius Adams now dangerous in the mid-range. Mambo's Cheesesteak Grill doesn't just hit shots from beyond the arc. There's plenty of spots for Big Brothers Big Sisters to pay attention to. If they want to extend to a lead, they're going to have to get some stops, and certainly a three on the other end won't hurt.
Back-to-back threes for Josh Brewer now. And we're not even midway through the first half yet. We've seen 63 combined points. Make it 66 as Darius Adams drills one from deep.
And you're starting to see why he was the best offensive player in Germany in the 2013-14 season. He hits from the mid-range, and he hits from three, and that time a turnover from Darius Adams will send it back in the direction of the leading team in Big Brothers Big Sisters.
Adams airmailing that pass. But it's already a 34-32 ball game. This Big Brothers Big Sisters team scored just 72 last week and through about a quarter of this game. They're on pace to be in the hundreds. They've got the ball with Coleman. Coleman sizing up Adrian Gibson, getting to the lane and finishing.
Great take there for Big Brothers Big Sisters. They have a 2-possession lead now. They have to string together some buckets to get ahead of this, or stay ahead of this Mambo's Cheesesteak Grill team that just keeps hitting from beyond the arc. That time, Marquise Teague.
Neither team has cooled off. Here's Tyler. Over to Steve Miller. Taking it back to Coleman. Coleman stuck in the corner, and he throws it away to Evan Loudon. Loudon one-on-one with Brewer. Can't finish. Ball loose. Loudon gets it back. Goes to the other side of the rim. Misses again, but he gets his own rebound for the second time, and the third time is the charm for Evan Loudon.
There's some hustle from Evan Loudon. Can't give up on the play after a missed bunny. He misses 2, but still puts the points on the board, and retaking the lead for Mambo's Cheesesteak Grill is Evan Loudon.
Here's Jeremy Tyler. He'll pull up from 16. Too strong. Brewer on the rebound. Got hacked. And I believe he will be shooting free throws.
Does appear to be the case. And we're going to be in for one thrilling matchup. You mentioned how neither team has cooled off, and my question at this point is, will they ever, as we cross into the second half of the first half with about 8 minutes left to go until that first buzzer sounds. And this is a great example of just how much we love the Elam ending and that target score. Both of these teams hitting shots on either end, and there's going to become a point where the emphasis is going to shift to the defensive side of the basketball, and both teams putting all of their effort into getting stops, in addition to, of course, getting buckets on the other end. Here's Big Brothers Big Sisters with an opportunity to do just that.
High arcing layup drops for Darius Adams after Brewer had tied the game with the free throw. Tyler on the other end. Bucket and the foul. So we're tied up at 39, and Tyler has a chance to put Big Brothers Big Sisters back ahead.
And there's a great example of Jeremy Tyler's seemingly innate ability to score the basketball. That time attacking the rim. He puts it up under and through with the foul, and he will look to retake the lead for Big Brothers Big Sisters, and he does.
Here comes Teague for Mambo. Teague trying to find some space. He gets inside the lane but can't finish. He wanted a foul call to play on. And here comes Big Brothers Big Sisters. So they swing it around. Tyler with the shot. Well off the mark that time. And Adams corrals it for Mambo's as he goes straight down the lane. No foul call. There seemed to be some contact, but he scored anyway. Now Coleman, 2-on-1, throws one up. And an injury as Steve Miller didn't plant correctly, it looks like. Trying to leap for that alley-oop, and he's down under the basket.
And that might be a serious one. I thought we were potentially in position to see another high-flying slam. Of course, Tony Perkins last week brought the house down for BBM Tax Service, and I thought that we were going to see the same happen with Miller on the other ends, and he will remain on the floor.
Miller grabbing at that back leg area. It's a 1-point lead right now for Mambo's Cheesesteak Grill. As we see players from both teams helping Miller back onto his feet. I think he's going to get checked on in another room here at the Bonner Center.
Yeah, he's struggling to put weight on that right ankle, that right foot. We, of course, hope Miller is okay and continues to be as we return to action.
Six and a half minutes left to play here in this first half, and a 1-point lead for Mambo's Cheesesteak Grill. They have the basketball, and Darius Adams can extend that lead. Here comes Hunter White. White down the lane, off glass, doesn't drop. And it comes back out to Adams. Adams in transition. Slows things down for Mambo's Cheesesteak Grill. Into the corner now. Foul called as Adrian Gibson attacked the hoop.
And certainly an injury like that to really put both teams at ease and have them stop for a second is one way to sort of turn off the heaters on some of those scoring runs. We see that three not fall for Darius Adams, and then, of course, the free throw opportunity for Adrian Gibson out of Richmond High School. We'll see if both teams continue to shoot as hot as they have been throughout the rest of the first half, and then, of course, after the break into the second half, as they reach crunch time, Gibson will miss the first free throw. 41-40 is the score, the lead towards Mambo's Cheesesteak Grill.
Gibson looking to add a point to this lead, but he can't do so. And here comes Big Brothers, Big Sisters. White into the corner with Washington. Ball being bounced around. And a foul will be called on Dominic Washington. The ball will head back over to Mambo's Cheesesteak Grill.
Dominic Washington, captain of this team of Big Brothers Big Sisters. Played soccer and football at Ben Davis, went to UIndy, and is now a teacher. Certainly can get to the rim as a big body.
Teague, sidestep, Trey, knocks it down.
And there's Teague's three-pointer to create a two-possession lead for Mambo's Cheesesteak Grill. We're hoping to see Marquis Teague get into a groove here late in the first.
Here's Josh Price trying to attack, lost the handle. Teague comes away with it. Teague in transition to C's part, but he dishes it off anyway to Gibson, who can't hit the layup. And Price pulls it away for Big Brothers Big Sisters. White thought about the three. Instead, he'll drive inside. And couldn't get that one to fall, and then leaking out is Teague for the deuce. 6-point lead for Mambo's.
We saw Big Brothers Big Sisters establish a level of intensity, and Mambo's Cheesesteak Grill has absolutely matched and exceeded it here late in the first half. Looking to string together a couple positive possessions and extend this lead leading into halftime.
Hunter White over to Jeremy Tyler, thought about the three. 5 on the shot clock. Tyler at the foul line. Tyler inside, a high arcing layup, doesn't go.
A rush shot there late in the shot clock.
Adams on the other end. Can't finish the layup. Tyler still back on this end for Big Brothers Big Sisters. Knocks down the layup.
And Jeremy Tyler not letting Mambo's Cheesesteak Grill get away with a lead heading into halftime. Both teams fighting to take control of the momentum heading into the break.
Nice off the dribble three from Evan Loudon. As that ball out of bounds, trying to save it was Hunter White, but a poor pass led to the turnover.
And you got to be careful now if you're Big Brothers Big Sisters, because they took a solid early lead, but now a 7-point deficit for that team with a couple minutes left to go. And Mambo's Cheesesteak Grill, a team that can absolutely hit the three ball. If you let this team have a lead, they're going to do something. I was about to say like that, but of course the three doesn't fall. But Mambo's Cheesesteak Grill is going to have an opportunity to stay in front of Big Brothers Big Sisters with those shots from behind the arc if they jump out to a lead in the first half.
This was once a 10-point lead for Big Brothers Big Sisters, and they now trail by 7. Foul down low. I believe it's against Quinto Weston.
Price has not had it easy in the front court. It's certainly difficult to find any space and get any sense of a shot up if you're Josh Price in the lane.
5 on the shot clock for Hunter White to work with. He just saw it. He goes up for the floater. He's called for the offensive foul.
Great job, Evan Loudon, taking the charge. Under 2 minutes left to go in the first. Mambo's Cheesesteak Grill has an opportunity to take a double-digit lead if they'd like it. Here, just a three ball from beyond the arc would do just that.
It's one of those high school courts. There's no circle in the lane. So you can kind of set your feet wherever. And if you're set, it's a charge call, and we saw it that time. Mambo's wasting time here. It's only a 7-point game with a lot of game left to be played. But now they'll start their offense. Here is Darius Adams. He steps back for the long ball. Too strong on that attempt. Nice rebound by Dominic Washington. Here comes Coleman. Coleman to the paint. Coleman finding Washington. Back out Price. Price takes the long two, rolls off. Adams on the other end for Mambo's. Good feed to the cutting big, but shot not made by Hampton, but it's put back up and in by Evan Loudon, and it's now a 9-point lead for Mambo's Cheesesteak Grill. Here's Jeremy Tyler trying to get the foul call, unable to do so. Now about 4 seconds, 5 seconds, separate these shot and game clocks here near the end of the half.
Loudon holding for the last shot with Mambo's Cheesesteak Grill.
His team leading by 9, looking to go up by double digits for the first time. After trailing this one early, 13-3, Loudon can't hit. 6 seconds to work with. For Josh Price, he gets pickpocketed. Coleman will have to put it up at the buzzer. Too much on that attempt, and it's a 51-42 lead for Mambo's Cheesesteak Grill midway through this game. But man, what an offensive display we saw in this first half, Andrew.
Absolutely, 51-42. We're on track for the winning team to reach 100. And it's almost hard to believe the Big Brothers Big Sisters is down by 9 at the break here after the strong start that they had. But once Mambo's Cheesesteak Grill started hitting their shots and they started finding their groove, there was really no stopping them. And Big Brothers Big Sisters on the other end, they're going to have to somehow find a way to defend the perimeter without giving up, the space behind them for a potential attack to the glass. And on the other end, Big Brothers Big Sisters, they've had some ability to score. Jeremy Tyler has done a great job. I want to see a little bit more from Josh Brewer. And this is kind of exactly the situation that we saw last week with Josh Brewer and Big Brothers Big Sisters, where they were down at halftime. We wanted to see more from Josh Brewer against Elevate Indy, and he took over in the second half and ended up hitting the game-winning shot over Elevate Indy to make Big Brothers Big Sisters 1-0. We'll see if Josh Brewer emerges as the big man for Big Brothers Big Sisters in the second half. A 6'4" guard from Ben Davis. He was integral to that 2017 state championship team, hit a game winner against Castle in semi-state. He's deadly from downtown. I think Josh Brewer could be the equalizer for Big Brothers Big Sisters.
51-42 is the lead for Mambo's Cheesesteak Grill. At the half, we'll take a quick break and return to this exciting game here on CCO Live in just a moment. Back here for the second half between Mambo's Cheesesteak Grill and Big Brothers Big Sisters. Mambo's ahead 51-42 at the intermission alongside Andrew Garrison. I'm Zion Brown here live from the Bonner Center here in Indianapolis. And one thing that stood out about that first half, Andrew, we knew it when it was going on, but seeing the percentages, just the three-point shooting, this Mambo's team has made 11, shooting 61% from deep, and 8 have been made by Big Brothers Big Sisters on a 50% clip.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's shocking that Big Brothers Big Sisters can shoot 50% from 3 on 16 shots and still be down by 9. But that just exactly speaks to the output that Mambo's Cheesesteak Grill is capable of offensively, and what we've seen the last 2 seasons where they've made the title game at minimum those last 2 seasons here at the City League. There's certainly a title contender. Big Brothers Big Sisters has showed some great fight through this game so far as a 1-0 team facing Mambo's Cheesesteak Grill that has not yet played a game before this one this season. We've got 16 minutes on the board, and then at around 4 minutes, we'll get our target score for the Elam ending. That's 9 plus whatever the leading team's score is. And I'm hoping to see Big Brothers Big Sisters at least keep themselves, I'll say, 2 possessions or less in a deficit, or, of course, most beneficially for them, leading the game in order to stay in it here for the target score on the Elam ending.
We got a 19-point swing in that first half from this Big Brothers Big Sisters team, winning by 10 at one point as they force a turnover to begin half number 2, but Tyler can't hit the layup, and the ball is loose and off the knee of Tyrone Walker and staying with Big Brothers Big Sisters.
They will have that whistle fall in their favor that time. It'll be Josh Brewer inbounding.
Gets it in to Coleman. Coleman thinking about the 3. He made a couple deep ones in that first half, but instead will try to break down Teague off the dribble. Feeds it to a cutting Brewer, but he lost possession. And it goes back to Mambo's Cheesesteak Grill.
It was a good idea from Coleman, but not the best execution, and that will create an opportunity for Mambo's.
John Hart sinks the 3, and it's the largest lead we've seen today for Mambo's at 12. Hart, if you remember, kind of broke the seal in that first half that led to the offensive explosion. And he comes back off the bench and hits the 3 to start the second half. As we see Josh Price nail the shot. Now here's Hart on the cut, drawing the foul, and he'll head to the line for 2.
John Hart has just been so good so far for Mambo's Cheesesteak Grill, really livening this offense when it's in sort of a stagnant moment of little scoring, as you mentioned. John Hart out of Beech Grove had 19 points per game as a senior in high school, plays professionally in Canada after having 63, or contributing in 63 games at Purdue, then 2 years at IUPUI, having 14 points per game there. As a senior, John Hart has made an impact everywhere that he has gone, and he's that third monster, third head to this monster in the backcourt for Mambo's.
Hart nails both free throws, and it's back to a 12-point lead. Here's Josh Price with the basketball, lost it, but back over to Jaron Coleman. Coleman, pressure. Now we see Tyler going at the rim, and that's going to be a charge on him, and he hit his arm on the way down. Looked like the elbow area. Jeremy Tyler banged against the hardwood. We've already seen one injury with Steve Miller in this game for Big Brothers Big Sisters. Looks like he's getting kind of taped up over there in the far corner from where we're at. Doubt we see him again today. And now Tyler also laboring.
Well, if Tyler misses any time, that's going to be a big hit to this Big Brothers Big Sisters offense. Tyler's so dangerous working downhill at the rim. He seems to be upright and walking okay. Certainly a hard fall, but it appears to be nothing serious in the long term for Tyler.
Just see him flexing that arm and hand area. You hope that he is all right. I think John Hart also maybe got injured on that fall as well. He's doing the same thing coming up the court. The alley-oop thrown up, incomplete as Hampton could not pull it down for Mambo's. Here comes Coleman right to the rack for 2.
And the impact Coleman has in transition has been tangible, in addition to, of course, those 3 triples that he knocked down in the first half. He'll be important to this comeback for Big Brothers Big Sisters.
Here on the three-pointer for Darius Adams. 13-point lead for Mambos. Tyler, after just getting injured a few plays earlier, his arm seemed to be all right.
Certainly seems to be so. He knocks down a triple himself.
59-49 lead for Mambo's Cheesesteak Grill. They have the basketball with Darius Adams. He'll try a deep one, overcooked that shot, and it goes behind the backboard out of bounds.
And here's an opportunity for Big Brothers Big Sisters to cut into the deficit. They're down 10 at the moment. We're about 12 minutes away from that target score being put on the board. Love to see some outpit offensively from them.
Brewer with a hand in his face, can't knock it down, but Price corrals the board. Coleman feeling it, rims out, boarded up by Hampton. Here comes John Hart. Hart with a hand in his face, off the mark. Ball batted around. It'll be Mambo's Cheesesteak Grill keeping possession in the front court.
They'll escape that near mishap as Hart will inbound.
Hart gets it back, almost taken away by Price. Hart now gets into the paint. Through some contact, he finishes.
And stares down a couple audience members to assert his dominance.
Hunter White pull up, Jay drops. So back and forth we go. This Big Brothers Big Sisters team may need to string together some stops. They don't do so there as Marcus Teague drills one from straight away.
And again, once Mambo's takes a lead, it's just so difficult to claw back into a game because they're consistently hitting the 3 ball at such a high rate.
Here's Teague with it again. It goes off his shoulder. Nice deflection by Coleman. Got just enough of the basketball to give Teague some troubles handling it on the pass. And going back the other way to Big Bros Big Sis. Here's Tyler off the bounce. Nice 3 again from Tyler. His second deep shot of this second half. Quickly, here comes Sean Hart, who knew it right away.
And again, such a great play from Tyler, but it's instantly canceled out by a 3 on the other end for Mambos. And as Tyler misses the next opportunity, Mambo's Cheesesteak Grill maintains their lead.
John Hart has caught fire. Back-to-back trays for Hart. And it's the largest lead for either team today. 16 points is the advantage for Mambo's Cheesesteak Grill.
And when you look at that sort of triple threat between Marquise Teague, Darius Adams, and John Hart might be the last one you look at as somebody that could potentially take over a game. But that's exactly what he's doing, standing at 6'2" here for Mambo's Cheesesteak Grill. John Hart hitting the 3 ball so effectively. He's been fantastic. And a 70-54 lead now, as you mentioned, for Mambo's Cheesesteak Grill. They are taking full control of this basketball game, about 10 minutes away from the target score being put on the board.
Has to be a strong response here for Big Brothers Big Sisters. A team that we have seen be competitive and kind of go shot for shot with Mambos for much of this game. But this last stretch has really broken things open for this Mambos team.
Mambo's Cheesesteak Grill, one of the teams with a target on their back after being one of the final 2 teams at the end of the bracket in this league these past 2 seasons. Big Brothers Big Sisters, certainly an emerging team. There's lots of emerging squads looking to contend for a championship. Big Brothers Big Sisters, a great example. Press Play Gaming Lounge played well in a win last week. Indianapolis Recorder, of course, working off of the game winner from Aaron Henry. He's in attendance over on the baseline to the viewer's right. And Big Brothers Big Sisters is going to have an opportunity to prove themselves here with 14 minutes just to go.
They almost turn it over straight off a timeout, but instead it turns into an open 3 for White. They needed that, but did not get it. And here comes Teague the other way for Mambos. Teague will take the 3 over Brewer. Got the lucky roll.
And some sweet footwork there from Teague. And he's rewarded by a smile from Brewer as he congratulates that play.
Loudon tracking down a loose ball, goes into the bleachers. And can't save it. So it saves the Big Brothers Big Sisters.
And look out if you're at the front row here at the City League, night 2 of week 2. Nearly a 20-point lead for Mambo's Cheesesteak Grill.
Coleman gets trapped. Lost with the ball. It'll be a jump ball at midcourt between Jaron Coleman and John Hart.
We see Josh Price off the floor as Big Brothers Big Sisters goes small, although certainly a lot of size and a lot of muscle on the floor at all times in this matchup. Dominic Washington back on the floor after ample rest. And we are about 8.5 minutes away from the target score being put on the board as Big Brothers Big Sisters looks to claw back into this one and give themselves a chance.
They actually jumped this ball at the foul line. His Hart a little too eager. And Coleman wins the tip to Josh Brewer. Brewer will try the tray. Short on that attempt. And Mambos can extend this 19-point lead. Adams attacking, fouled from behind by Hunter White.
And Hunter White did his best to really press the defense onto Darius Adams and just took him too far out towards the timeline. Darius Adams blows by him, and there's nothing White can do to stop that easy lay besides foul from behind. That's exactly what he does. Mambos will have another opportunity off the inbound.
Teague guarded by White. Teague spins. Nice feed, and the layup is good for Adrian Gibson with a foul.
Such a great find from Marquise Teague. Hunter White switched onto him for that part of the possession, and he was doing a great job defending Teague. Teague ran out of space to score himself, but it's just so difficult to defend a wraparound pass like that. We see Hunter White with his hands on his knees. He's out of answers for how to defend these Mambo's Cheesesteak Grill guards, and it seems that everybody else on Big Brothers Big Sisters is having the same issue.
The stick back is good for Quintel West, and a 4-point play makes it a 23-point lead for Mambo's Cheesesteak Grill. Open is Dominic Washington. He rims out on the three. Coleman cleans everything up. Loudon straight to the rim. Draws the foul. Evan Loudon, not one of these extreme scorers, right, that Mambo's Cheesesteak Grill seems to have many of, but he has made a lot of the plays on the margins today that has helped them grow this lead.
Yeah, Loudon, a great hustle player off the bench. And that's such a critical part of the City League, having a six-man that can really contribute and is happy to contribute off the bench, because across the board in the City League, there's nights where you show up and you only have 6, you only have 7, right, players that ends up showing up on the floor and on the bench on a particular given night. And some of these teams aren't nearly as deep as Mambo's Cheesesteak Grill is. It seems like they have 2 starting quality players on the bench at all times. Evan Loudon's a great example. He comes off the bench, makes massive contributions, steps back off, and he's always a fresh legs and a set of fresh legs and an energized threat off the bench. Somebody that's very valuable to this Mambo's team.
Loudon, however, did miss both free throws now on the other end. 2 attempts for Josh Price. It's Price knocks down the first.
Josh Price plays professionally in Israel, but is home for the summer and puts his team down 19 rather than 20.
Teague again guarded by Josh Brewer, takes the shot over him. This time it doesn't fall, and Price rebounds it for Big Bros Big Sisters. A rocket pass up ahead to Hunter White, who dunks it through. Adams trapped at midcourt. Now they move the second defender off as he tries to set up the offense. 10 on the shot clock. Adams driving inside, lost the handle to Jeremy Tyler. Coleman thought about the three, now finds a streaking Tyler. Tyler lost possession. And here comes Mambo's, but he throws it to his own bench where John Hart caught the long pass out of bounds.
John Hart getting some well-deserved rest after a flurry of triples, but Big Brothers Big Sisters really doing a great job working their way back into this game. There's Jerron Coleman with another big bucket.
So this lead that was once 23, now down to 15, a quick 8-0 spurt. Here is Adams getting to the rim. Nice feed to a cutting Loudon. There Loudon is again just making a small cut or small play that leads to points. Coleman to Tyler all the way for the deuce. This Big Brothers Big Sisters team trying to stick around. Adams gets around the screen. Adams floater too short on that attempt. And here comes Big Brothers Big Sisters. Jerron Coleman lost the handle. Feeds Price. Price almost lost it. He'll take the 15-footer too strong. And here comes Loudon. Cherry peeking these Adams, and he finger rolls it through.
And Mambo's Cheesesteak Grill will cross the 80-point line. We are under 4 minutes away from the Elam ending target score being put into effect. Right now, the key for Mambo's Cheesesteak Grill is just to continue extending this lead and make it more and more difficult for Big Brothers Big Sisters to come back once that target score is put on the board.
Again, we're at a 15-point game. Adams, another one of those finds down low to Gibson for a potential three-point play.
And that's the type of plays that Mambo's Cheesesteak Grill just continues to make. They can launch it from three, and the moment that Big Brothers Big Sisters potentially gets used to having to restrict the three-point line and play some tough defense around the perimeter, that's when Mambo's Cheesesteak Grill attacks the rim. That's when they attack the blocks, and they draw a foul call there for the three-point play.
18-point lead for Mambo's. Here's White. Goes behind the back and finds Dominic Washington on the other side of the hoop. Man, what a pass.
Yeah, absolutely. Very high level of basketball night in and night out here at the City League.
Speaking of swift passes, that created by Darius Adams ends up in an open three and a made three for Evan Loudon. The playmaking from Adams has been really impressive here in the second half.
Absolutely. You can clearly tell just how much talent this Mambo's Cheesesteak Grill team has. And it starts with Darius Adams as he marshals the basketball the other way.
Adams comes up with the steal, lost it. And now Brewer has it in the front court for Big Brothers Big Sisters. He buries the tray. We get a timeout now after the made three. Still a 16-point advantage for Mambo's Cheesesteak Grill. And the clock should be stopping. It's still running. So need to put about 10 more seconds on. But a 16-point lead as we're about a minute and a half out from the Elam ending. And right now you just need to try to go on a little 5-0, 6-0, just something quick here if you're Big Brothers Big Sisters to really give yourself a shot.
Absolutely. And you mentioned earlier how sort of if you give yourself a target score for the target score, where if you want to be down 8 when the Elam ending is put on the board and then you're 17 points away from victory, something along those lines. Down 16, I would say 10 is a good number to potentially reach in terms of a deficit. It's going to be very difficult to stop Mambo's Cheesesteak Girl from scoring possession after possession. I would be very impressed if Big Brothers Big Sisters puts that amount of stops together in a row, especially with Henner White, a great perimeter defender that at least he has been so far in this game. He's on the bench.
So they force a miss. Price gets stripped momentarily, but it's back into the hands of Coleman as he gets harassed and fouled by Quintel Weston.
Yeah, Big Brothers Big Sisters just going to look for opportunities to score. Josh Price has had such a difficult time getting to the basket from down low. We'll see if Big Brothers Big Sisters can hit shots from outside the same way that they had at the beginning of the game.
Price makes the layup, 14-point game, 4:40 left to go. Hart will try the three. That one dropped. Hand in his grill, and it does not matter for John Hart. Brewer on the other end responds. 90-76 lead for Mambo's Cheesesteak Grill. Hart again. Can't hit that time. Brewer clears the board. But he lost it off his own leg. And a chance to maybe make it a 12 or 11-point game going into that Elam Indy. Falls off the left knee of Josh Brewer.
This game, of course, all but over, but those are the mistakes in the margins you can't make against a team that scores at this level.
Loudon misses the leaning jumper. Ball is loose. Brewer finally picks it up for Big Brothers Big Sisters, who's into the front court with Coleman. Coleman for the three off the mark. And Loudon tracks it down. And do they call a timeout here to get to that Elam inning? They do not. Loudon's just going to attack and hit the layup right through Brewer's chest. 16-point lead for Mambo's Cheesesteak Grill. Next whistle will signal the Elam Indy, and now we see a foul committed by Mambo's Cheesesteak Grill to get there. So the target score will be 101.
And we will have our first triple-digit game of the City League season so far. Somebody's going to have to cross 100 to win this one, and this really shows that if you're playing Mambo's Cheesesteak Grill, you're probably going to have to score in triple digits if you're going to be able to win that game. Of course, Prudential didn't have to exactly reach 100 in the championship game last season as they upset Mambo's Cheesesteak Grill when they were defending champions. Prudential we'll see later tonight at 9 o'clock for their first game of this season. Big Brothers Big Sisters needs to reach 101. They're 25 points away from victory. They'll have to string together some stops around the perimeter against this Mambo's Cheesesteak Grill team if they're going to come back.
Brewer has it for Big Brothers Big Sisters, trying to get it started, but he can't do so. Now here comes Loudon, a one-on-one with Coleman. Blocked by Coleman, back into the hands of Loudon. Off the mark, but Loudon gets his rebound again. Now a streaking Gibson lays it home.
Now how many offensive rebounds is Loudon going to have just off of his own missed shots? But it doesn't matter if you make it at the ends, and each possession for Evan Loudon off those missed layups ends it in 2 points. Really speaks to the hustle and tenacity on the boards from him.
Breakaway for Gibson. They're now just 5 points away from starting this season off 1-0. Tyler for the tray off the mark. Being fought for, and Gibson again making the play. Adams in front of the pack. He'll set his feet for a three, and he banks it through.
Just so fun to watch shooting the basketball is Mambo's Cheesesteak Grill. They're a bucket away from victory. 101 being the target score. They sit at 99.
Coleman misses everything. Here's the 3-on-1 to finish it off. John Hart back to Adams. Who does it? Darius Adams lays it home, and it's a 25-point win. 101-76 as Mambo's Cheesesteak Grill goes 9-0 in the Elam ending period to take this one.
And it's fitting that Darius Adams is the guy that hits that final shot for Mambo's Cheesesteak Grill. Just so dangerous. He's hit shots from three. He's hit shots in the mid-range, and a team that I'm sure at the end of this one managed to hit over 50% of their threes. They were at 61% at halftime. They raced to a 101-76 victory. Mambo's Cheesesteak Grill has put their hat in the ring at the City League in 2025, certainly looking like the best offense in the league thus far, and it'll be interesting to see how they develop throughout the season if anybody can stop them from steamrolling their way to an undefeated championship run.
So Mambo's Cheesesteak Grill starts this year off 1-0. Big Brothers Big Sisters falls to 1-1 after the 101-76 win for Mambo. Stay with me and Andrew for our next game on TCL Live. We'll be back to the Women's League with Circle City Talk taking on Be the Hands in just a moment here from the Bonner Center.